What up, gamers? Fancier here, and today I want to share my thoughts on the book of Boba Fett, which just concluded a few months ago. And because of that, yes, I know I'm very much late to the party when it comes to discussing this show, but I still want to talk about it because Boba Fett is one of the reasons why I became a Star Wars fan. And in that aspect, I do feel like it's kind of important for me to at least share my thoughts on this show. Now, when it comes to me sharing my thoughts and opinions, guys, I will try to be as honest as possible, based on what I experience. And what I experience from this show is not what I want to experience. Yeah, my thoughts on the show has been very negative. It felt really disappointing and underwhelming, and I just really did not like the show a lot. But if you guys like it, that's good. I wish I can like it with you guys, but yeah, for me, I just really did not like the show a lot. But it's not the worst thing in the world, but also it's not the very best that Star Wars has to offer, I would say. But yeah, before I share my thoughts on the show, I just want to warn you guys of spoilers up ahead for this show and anything else, Star Wars movie and TV show related that does connect to this show. So, like the Clone Wars cartoons, the prequels, and the original trilogy stuff. So, yeah, you guys have been warned. So, first off, let's talk about the positives first because I feel like I can knock that out pretty quick compared to when I talk about the negatives. And for me to actually talk about those stuff, I do want to talk about how the story is structured first so that we can go by the story bit by bit. So, the story is structured into three different parts being told in three different ways. The first one is the present day stuff. That's the main story that we follow, where we see Boba Fett assume the role of daimyo of Mos Espa and has taken over Jabba's palace. The second story that we see is the past. So whenever Boba Fett enters the Bacta tank to heal his body, we do experience his flashbacks and see just like how he survived the Sarlacc pit after Han Solo comedically sent him there. And then the third storyline is actually just Mandalorian season 2.5, or at least like maybe the prologue to season 3, where we continue the journeys of Din Djarin and just see what he's up to, as well as Grogu too. And I thought the latter two were the main positives for this show, which are the past story and the Mandalorian story. And I do want to talk about the past one first, since that happened first. So, with the past story, that's where we see Boba Fett. We see how he survived the Sarlacc pit. We see where his armor went and how he became a Tusken. First being a prisoner and now being their family member. And then we see the Tuskens get destroyed, and now we see Boba Fett moving on, getting revenge, getting his ship back, and trying to find his armor. And we see how that ties in with the Mandalorian, with Fennec, and all that stuff. And yeah, I would say the past storyline is really good. It was really slow at first, especially for the first two episodes, but it was a very interesting thing to just watch and just feel, I guess, reintroduced to in a origin story way. For those who haven't seen the prequels or the Clone Wars show, yeah, this is a really cool way for those who haven't seen those to be, I guess, introduced to the Boba Fett character. And I guess for, existing fans, this is a way for us to be reintroduced for the character, to see how his story and his character development will be driven in this show, in which I can buy it. I know a lot of people see Boba Fett as this merciless, this ruthless guy, but based on the show as well, we do see like the good guy part of him. But yeah, I would say this is a good origin story, but like the execution when it comes to the present day stuff is like way too much. Like I think it's really bad in that aspect. So yeah, I like the origin story, but I feel like the stuff, like the way they use this later on, is just really bad, and it just makes Boba Fett feel like a different character. And I'll talk more about that later on. And the other good story was the Mandalorian story, with Din and Grogu. Pretty much a continuation from where we left off in the ending of the second season of The Mandalorian, where we see Din just continuing his bounty hunting journey just without Grogu. He's training with the dark saber, and at some point, yeah, he got disowned by his Mandalorian clan, and decided to go get a new ship and see Grogu and give him a gift that he got. He like smelt his Beskar spear into the chainmail, and then yeah, we also see Grogu just training with Luke. Really cool to see. Ahsoka's also on that planet, and he stopped Din from seeing Grogu because that would interfere with his Jedi training since they're not supposed to have attachments. But yeah, a lot of the stuff was really cool. It's what I expect for a Mandalorian show. And yeah, I guess in a way that's a positive and a negative that we're watching a Mandalorian show in a Boba Fett show. Cause yeah, it's really cool to see like a continuation of the Mandalorian, but I feel like it kind of takes the spotlight away from the Boba Fett stuff. Cause yeah, the Mandalorian story is probably the best part of the show, which, is not even a Boba Fett type thing. And we do have some really cool cameos, most of them being returning characters from The Mandalorian, like Ahsoka and the deepfake Luke Skywalker. And man, I gotta say that deepfake Luke Skywalker looks a lot smoother now, like more natural. I wonder if it's that one YouTuber that got hired to do that. But yeah, man, like it's really cool with these cameos. Like we see Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka talking to each other. Like, man, can you imagine the conversations that they had? Because it looks like they already met. I wonder if they talk about Anakin and, just discovering that Luke is the son of Anakin. Yeah, it's a really cool moment just to see them interact and to see Ahsoka, I guess, being on her own now and possibly starting the Ahsoka show. Yeah, like those cameos are really awesome and a big highlight for the show. Even, non-human cameos like Din Djarin's new ship, which was a Naboo starfighter. That was really cool, like a nod to the prequel, like the very first one, The Phantom Menace. Um and then yeah, we also get a new like returning character that we haven't seen in live action yet, and that is Cad Bane, man. He had some of the coolest intros ever, just coming in from a distance, like a silhouette, and then as he gets closer, you see like his hat, and yeah, that like gave me like chills, and yeah, I just really had to focus on that scene because Cad Bane is one of my favorite characters of the Clone Wars cartoons, and yeah, compared to Ahsoka, I think I felt like he was done more accurately and a lot better here compared to her. But yeah, the Mandalorian stuff has been probably the best part of this show, which yeah, it makes me sad to say because yeah, it just takes away the spotlight from Boba Fett, and this is supposed to be a Boba Fett show. Now Boba Fett kind of felt like a guest star on his own show. So yeah, the past story and the Mandalorian story were the main positives for me on this show. And now it's time for the negatives, and oh boy, yeah, let's just get right down to it. So yeah, just seeing what's left on the list now with the stories. The main story, the current day story, has been mostly negative for me. So that's where we see, once again, like I said before, Boba Fett. He assumes the role of Daimyo of Mos Espa, and at first I was pretty fine with it. He's getting accustomed to his new role, getting tributes, hiring Gamorrean guards and all that. But then, we do see him like take off his helmet sometimes and also not using his jetpack to escape the assassin's ring. He was surrounded by them and he has a jetpack. He could have like hold Fennec's hand and, both of them can be relocated to a different place. But yeah, at first it was like okay and fine and good. But then ever since that scene, I feel like it was progressively getting really weird and bad for me, like, for my experience. And yeah, I guess that's my main issue with the show, is that there's just a lot of things that just don't really make sense to me. And I guess I can just go down the list, and the first one is, yeah, Boba Fett, since we're talking about him right now. So yeah, like I said, with the whole jetpack thing, him not using it to escape that assassin's ring, of him being surrounded. Um, then later on, we do see him use it when like the mods, finish their very slow card chase with the major domo. And not even Boba Fett, I guess maybe he was like overlooking, but I thought he would actually at least do something where maybe he would shoot the major domo's vehicle or something to slow him down, or get him to crash somewhere. I don't know. I know that was the time for the mods to do their thing, but with Boba Fett, I did expect him to do more. I'm not sure if him being daimyo made him feel more relaxed or something, or more chill, but I don't know, maybe it was the Tuscans. It's so weird. Boba Fett is such a different character for me, from what I experienced from the prequels and the Clone Wars show. You can see that maybe he's, grown up so much that, maybe he matured more. But dude, we do see him in the last movie that he was in the Return of the Jedi, and he was still like what we saw, the feeling of him being like this ruthless and merciless mercenary, bounty hunter type guy, this really awesome, emotionless soldier. Um, and yeah, I guess the Tuscans really did affect him so much for him to really change up his character. I don't know. Like I said, like there's just so many things that just don't make sense to me, and I'm trying to make sense of it. And I want to say the Tuscans were the reason why, we see Boba Fett just be such a different character, even making jokes like a banta. Oh man. I mean, I'll give that line a pass just because it's very memeable and very funny. But I don't know. There's just a lot of things that I just really don't understand about Boba Fett. Like, another thing is him being a crime lord, like him helping Cobb Vanth, um, stop the drugs, or the spices to be spread around Tatooine. And then, yeah, what else? I mean, even pointing out when the mods were stealing water, he's like, that's a crime. um, yeah, and then he just decides to hire them. I mean, hiring them makes sense because I know he has to build an army, but I don't know, it just feels like he's trying to do the right thing. And we do see him at the end, when after he called himself a crime lord, like people are bowing to him at the very end, and he has to bow back, and he just looks like a hero, like a village chieftain or something that just successfully fended off a, from an attack, like some kind of like raid or something from his place. And yeah, for me, it just doesn't really make sense a lot that, Boba Fett, I don't know what the daimyo really means, in this universe, if it means crime lord, because he did call himself that. But yeah, he's acting very heroic for a crime lord. But don't get me wrong, he still has this ruthless side to him, like when he used the Rancor to intimidate some of the leaders on Tatooine to stay neutral in the war between him and the Pikes. And then also when the Pikes came and, they offered him to surrender, and he made Major Domo say some things that would probably get him shot like right away. Yeah, like he still has that side to him, but I feel like, the goodness and the badness of Boba Fett, it just flipped, Like the way I saw Boba Fett in the Clone Wars, like he was mostly bad, but he still has that goodness in him, like the very little goodness in him. I felt like in this show though, the Book of Boba Fett, that just flipped. Like he is just mostly good and just a little bit bad. And maybe because we do have prior knowledge of Boba Fett, like we know his story from the prequels and the Clone Wars cartoons, we know what his character is like, and so maybe that's why it just feels really weird to see him have this drastic character change, feeling very laid back and also kind of weak, which yeah, it also kind of feels weird too that he's kind of nerfed in this show when we saw him in The Mandalorian, which takes place, a little bit before this show, just him being so much of a badass. Um, and apparently he needs to heal his body. Maybe that's why. I don't know. It's all weird to me. He needs the back tank to heal up, but he seems perfectly fine when he was with Din when he got his Boba armor. And so I don't know, man. Like Boba Fett is not acting like Boba Fett. He's grown a lot softer than before. Very different. Kind of like what Cad Bane said when he noticed that he's very soft in personality. Which at that point I thought that Cad Bane was onto something because maybe Boba Fett was about to do like a whole 180. Like, no, I'm just using these guys to gain their trust, and I'm going to do something even more devious or I don't know. I mean, maybe not. It's not going to be that devious, but I thought maybe he's just kind of lying about his kindness, uh, which is kind of weird to say about Boba. But yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like Boba Fett to me, and that's why I just don't really understand the character change and why he's like that. It's one of the negatives I have with the show, and I guess the other negative I have with the show is is definitely the some of the characters like the mods and the Rancor. I do agree with everyone that the mods they just don't belong on Tatooine. Like where these cyberpunk kids come from and why are they so clean with their Vespas? Yeah, like that was one of the most non-Star Wars things I've ever seen. I know that apparently it might be a tribute to what was it called? Graffiti or American Graffiti, one of George Lucas's old films. It's just why is it on Tatooine and not on Coruscant? I feel like it'll work way better next to Dex's diner. But yeah, I know I made that sound really big of me, not liking the mods because of that. But actually their appearance, they don't really bother me as much as like another problem I have with them. And also with the Rancor too, and that is their backstory or any character development at all because they're kind of like just there, like especially with the mods. Like I said, it just feels really weird to have these cyberpunk kids on Tatooine, and so I was kind of like holding my judgment because maybe they might explore them more, like have a backstory. Like maybe their backstory could have been them being kicked off of Coruscant, or maybe they want to leave Coruscant to make a life, on other planets, and they somehow chose Tatooine. Maybe their ship crashed down, and maybe it's recent. Maybe that's why their Vespas are so clean. But no, we really didn't get anything with the mods and their backstory. They're kind of like just there. They even have like one of those like a mod shop, I guess, uh, where they do those cybernetic stuff. And I don't know. It just feels weird that they just appear now on Tatooine, and apparently they appear outside of Mos Espa since we do see that mod shop being outside of it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the mods. I feel like that can be fixed if they had a backstory, a reason why they're there, and maybe even some character development too, because we didn't really see much. I mean, we see that one main mod girl. Maybe she might have a thing for that Freetown girl, but that's that's really it. And they do like showcase them a lot too. So yeah, that's the reason why I don't like the mods for the most part. And yeah, that issue also goes with the Rancor too. There's really no character development. Apparently, what was it? What did Danny Trejo said? Like they're very a very sensitive creature or something, emotionally sensitive. Um, yeah, and even Boba Fett, it looks like he was gonna have a montage of him like, bonding with it, but no, it was actually just used at the very end, like from using from being intimidating against those leaders of Tatooine, um, and also to use the Rancor at the final battle, and that was pretty much it. I thought there might be some kind of training montage to help them, bond together. And one thing I noticed too is that the Book of Boba Fett has 7 episodes, where the Mandalorian has 8 on the first 2 seasons. So I'm wondering if maybe an episode got cut. Maybe they could have used one more episode to, introduce these guys and make us like them. But yeah, they're just there. I don't know. Yeah, just that's one of my issues with the show is that some characters they just don't feel fleshed out. And I would say going back to the positives, I would say the only good characters or good original characters would be Fennec Shan and Chrysanthemum, because even though they weren't really explored too much with their stories, I thought they were explored just enough where they just feel like a Boba Fett character or a Book of Boba Fett character, and they don't feel like they can be replaced. Compared to the mods, I don't know about you guys. I feel like the mods can be like replaced with like bounty hunters from a nearby cantina. I feel like that would fit more well with Boba Fett, since he was a bounty hunter himself, and he did talk about the reason why he wants to you know do the things he wants to do is because he's tired of his employers treating him bad as a bounty hunter. And so I thought maybe you might as well just hire some bounty hunters from the cantina and treat them well. Treat them the way he would want to be treated. But yeah, all of that, everything I've talked about so far, it all leads up to the final episode where we have the war between Boba Fett and his people against the Pikes, in which, yeah, I would say that's the underwhelming part of this show. And yeah, it was a lot of action in the last episode. I would say it does feel very half and half. It felt half good and half bad and weird in a way and stupid. But the good parts of the action was with Din and Boba Fett, teaming up, the two Mandalorians doing some cool Mandalorian stuff with their jetpacks and, whipping out that dark saber. I don't know. I thought those stuff were really cool. The Rancor stuff was really cool. But then there's some really weird, stupid stuff like each of Boba Fett's people, like it looks like they're about to be taken down, and two of them, the Gamorrean guards, like they just fell off a cliff. We're never gonna see them again, probably, because I don't think they can survive that. And then there's some other like really gimmicky stuff like that, like that one the mod guy just spinning around with his pistol. I know the Mandalorian does it too, but it feels more natural with him than like whatever that mod guy did. And then there's that Freetown girl, the mod girl, going up to the roof to, I guess, distract that giant machine monster thing. But then I felt like it was kind of pointless though, because I'm not sure who they saved or something. But in the end, the Rancor took care of it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of really weird action stuff going on. And I would say the most disappointing of them all was the Boba Fett and Cad Bane fight, which, man, I mean, the result of that fight, Boba Fett wins. It looks like he killed Cad Bane, but then there's like this beeping thing, so like on Cad Bane, so maybe he's still alive around there. But yeah, like I really don't like that fight. It just felt too soon and too fast, because I don't know. I'm not really sure what that beeping thing is. Like if it's calling someone else, maybe he did die and he's like he's like letting someone else know that he died. And I don't know. It's I thought it ended way too fast. I thought Cad Bane had something, with Boba when he said the whole, what are you up to? You've grown soft and all that stuff. But no, it's just Boba Fett being the new Boba Fett. And I really hope that that's not the end for Cad Bane. I hope he survived that, because he just got there. He became live action, man. But yeah, I really do hope that he survived that, and we do see him again in the future. And if not, maybe that's how they planned it. Maybe we'll see a Cad Bane more in the Kenobi show. We know he had history with Kenobi. Maybe he'll be more in the Bad Batch, because he was also in there as well. So yeah, I'm guessing that maybe if Cad Bane dies here, then we'll be just seeing him more in the past shows, like shows that takes place before his death. Because yeah, that's definitely what we've been seeing right now. But yeah, in the end, Boba Fett's team wins. The Pikes, I'm not sure if they're eliminated or not, but I guess most of the Tatooine, I guess, division, maybe they're wiped out. I'm not sure if there's more off planet with the Pikes. But yeah, the mayor of Mos Espa and the Pikes they got assassinated by Finnick, and now Mos Espa is safe, and everyone was bowing to Boba Fett, as mentioned before. Now, yeah, it felt very generic in a way. The ending, I don't know, it just felt so predictable. So, just watching Boba Fett over the show, over the episodes, like you can kind of predict just what's gonna happen because it just felt like that kind of that good guy heroic show. Yeah, to me, I just did not like the ending. It was very underwhelming. It didn't really give us a lot for like for us to expect in the future. I feel like they did tease us, what might be coming up next if they ever have a season 2 or if they're featured in other shows. Like, I remember Boba Fett said something where, this lifestyle is not for him, and that maybe he should pass it off to someone else. Maybe he should become a bounty hunter again. And so, yeah, when he said that line, I thought that maybe for the next season or whenever he appears again, he'll become a bounty hunter again, and maybe he'll just pass it off to Cobb Vanth. With yeah, we've seen him in the Bacta tank, so yeah, it looks like he'll be around again. Maybe he'll be the mayor or the sheriff of Mos Espa, since maybe the sheriff of Tatooine. Yeah, that sounds way better. Then Boba Fett can go back to his slave one and just go, you know, away. Yeah, why didn't Boba Fett use his slave one? Like during the battles. He used it against the bikers, which was really awesome. And also is one of his like merciless and ruthless, ways. I don't know. That was a that was something I just thought about right now. But yeah, I thought that ending was very underwhelming and lackluster. It doesn't really give us a lot to go off on for like the future. Like it doesn't feel like it really wrapped itself up nicely, you know. It felt really generic. Maybe that's why I just didn't really like it a lot. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the show. That was the positives and the negatives. The negatives definitely overweighing the positives. But even with with the amount of the negatives that I see in the show, I am still open for a season 2. I feel like at least the first season can serve as a foundation for Boba Fett to do some other stuff or do something even bigger, whatever that might be. So yeah, even though I just don't like the first season, I am still open for a second season, and I hope they do that too, because Boba Fett can do just a lot more things than just being daimyo. I know he's got some bounty hunter friends. We kind of saw them, when Darth Vader was around, just gathering them in the movies in the original trilogy. So maybe he'll meet Dengar again, or is IG-88 still around? Like, is he still alive? I don't know. I heard that he got destroyed afterwards at some point. But yeah, like I would like to see a bounty hunter guild. That is actually what I expected when I first saw the trailer for this this show, that he's going to be the crime lord for taking over Jabba the Hutt's place, and that maybe he'll like have bounty hunter friends be with him as sidekicks, and his army be treated with respect, and he'll be respected back. Yeah, that's what I originally thought, but no, it was more like he's gonna have other, like, the civilians respect him and yeah, bow to him and all that, like a village elder. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Like I said, if you guys like it, that's good. I really wish I can like it with you guys, but this show was really not for me. But I am very much open for whatever the writers might do to make him more likable again. And this is like the first, I guess, if anything, I know a lot of people also don't like this show too. And yeah, if this show is considered bad by the masses, then I would say this is the first bad thing about Star Wars in a very long time. At least the story side of things, like the official story, the canon side of things. Like, even though I did not like the show at all, I think it's not going to be the end of all things. I'm still very much looking forward to the Kenobi show, the Ahsoka show. Yeah, actually, those are really the only two things I'm really looking forward to. Because I know them. I like their characters a lot. So yeah, hopefully they do a lot better. And I feel like there's a lot on the line with those two shows at least, especially with the Kenobi show, because yeah, we've been wanting to see the prequel characters come back. You know, especially Obi-Wan. Man, like it's been so long to see Ewan McGregor like just reprise his role as Obi-Wan, and to see him become more of like the the original trilogy Obi-Wan. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it's all good. Those are my thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I know this video was a bit messy. Uh, this was my first commentary in a long while, and this is how I want to format it. And hopefully it can be shorter in the future because that's how I kind of want these commentaries to be. Maybe for like reviews or something, maybe they'll be long, but yeah, I just want to keep it short for the most part. So hopefully I can do that again in the future, or do that in the future. So yeah, that's it for now, guys. That's game.